Have you ever stopped to think about why, in two identical moments, you choose one path while someone else chooses the complete opposite? Why, standing in front of the same options, some people seem to decide with clarity, speed, and confidence, while others freeze, hesitate, or sabotage themselves? What if I told you that your choices are not as logical, rational, or conscious as you've been taught to believe? What if the real driver of your decisions lives in a space you never learned to look at? This is not motivation. This is not self-help. This is the quantum psychology of choice. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Most people believe they make choices based on information, facts, logic, pros and cons. But that's the story we tell ourselves after the decision is already made. The truth is uncomfortable. Your brain decides first. Then your mind invents a reason. And here's the frightening part. Most of those decisions are not happening in a straight line of cause and effect. They're happening in probabilities, in impulses, in invisible emotional fields that collapse into action before you can even name them. Think about the last big decision you made. A relationship, a career move, a purchase you later questioned. Did it really come from logic, or did it come from a feeling you couldn't fully explain? That tightness in your chest, that rush of excitement, that sudden sense of fear or urgency, that wasn't random. That was your internal state selecting a reality. In quantum physics, particles don't exist in one fixed position. They exist as probabilities until observation collapses them into a single outcome. Your psychological choices work the same way. Every moment, you are surrounded by multiple possible versions of yourself. The confident one, the hesitant one, the bold one, the one who plays small. And your internal state decides which version becomes real. This is where most people lose control. They try to change outcomes without changing states. They try to force better results using willpower while their internal system is tuned to fear, scarcity, and avoidance. So, no matter how many books they read, they keep choosing the same patterns, the same partners, the same mistakes, the same comfort zones dressed as logic. Have you noticed how some people always seem to choose right? They walk into opportunities without overthinking. They attract supportive relationships. They move forward while others are still analyzing. That's not luck. That's not intelligence. That's coherence. In quantum psychology, coherence means your thoughts, emotions, and identity are aligned. There's no internal contradiction, no split between what you want and what you fear. When coherence is present, choices feel obvious, effortless, almost inevitable. Incoherence, on the other hand, creates paralysis. You want success, but fear visibility. You crave connection, but fear rejection. You desire freedom, but feel addicted to security. This internal conflict keeps you stuck in superposition, unable to collapse into decisive action. Here's the part nobody talks about. Your environment isn't shaping your choices. Your choices are shaping the environment you are able to perceive. Two people can live in the same city, the same economy, the same era, and inhabit completely different realities, different options, different risks, different opportunities. Why? Because perception follows identity. Your identity acts like an observer, and whatever you identify with collapses reality in its favor. If you see yourself as someone who must struggle, you will unconsciously choose struggle. If you see yourself as someone who is chosen, you will move toward alignment without even noticing how. This is why advice rarely works. Advice targets logic. Choice is emotional, stored in patterns, conditioned by repetition. Think about a chess grandmaster. They do not calculate every move consciously. They feel the board. They sense what is right because their nervous system has been trained to recognize patterns at a level below language. Your choices operate the same way. Right now, your nervous system is running scripts. Scripts learned from childhood, from trauma, from rejection, from moments where you learned it was safer not to choose boldness. And every time you hesitate, you reinforce that script. Every time you delay, avoid, or settle, you feed a probability wave that says, this version of me survives by not risking. Quantum psychology doesn't ask, what do you want? It asks, who are you being when the decision appears? This changes everything. Because if you try to manifest better outcomes without upgrading the internal observer, you'll keep collapsing the same reality. Different packaging, same story. Have you ever wondered why awareness alone doesn't change behavior? You know what you should do. You understand the consequences. Yet, you still choose against yourself. That's not weakness. That's state dominance. The strongest emotion in the system wins, not the smartest thought. Fear collapses reality faster than logic. So does belonging, so does shame. So does desire. Social proof plays a massive role here. Look around. Most people choose what feels familiar, not what feels true. They follow patterns validated by others because the nervous system reads safety in numbers. That's why trends spread. That's why mediocrity feels comfortable. That's why breaking away feels dangerous even when it's necessary. But here's the paradox. Every major breakthrough in life happens when someone chooses against the dominant probability field. They choose the option that feels aligned but irrational, the move others didn't approve, the risk that didn't make sense on paper. And later, people call it courage, or genius, or destiny. In reality, it was coherence. Your future is not created by effort alone. It's created by identity, selecting from infinite possibilities. So how do you change your choices at the quantum level? Not by forcing decisions, but by changing the internal conditions under which decisions are made. Your emotions are not reactions. They're signals. They're feedback from deeper layers of your system. When anxiety appears before a choice, most people try to suppress it or rationalize it away. But anxiety is not the enemy. Unresolved anxiety is. Anxiety often signals an identity boundary, a version of you that has never existed before, a level your nervous system hasn't normalized. Avoid the choice and you stay the same. Move through it consciously and your identity expands. This is why repetition matters. Neuroplasticity meets quantum probability. Every aligned choice, even small ones, recalibrates your internal field. Over time, what once felt terrifying becomes neutral, then familiar, then automatic. That's how confident people are made, not born. Notice how urgency changes behavior. Under real pressure, people suddenly choose decisively. Why? Because urgency collapses probabilities. It forces coherence. This is why deadlines work. Why crises create transformation. Why comfort kills potential. But living reactively is expensive. Quantum psychology teaches you to generate coherence without waiting for chaos. You do this by training presence, by slowing down before decisions, by noticing the emotional impulse without immediately obeying it. Space creates choice. Most people never pause long enough to see the options. They react, they repeat, they justify. But when you pause, even briefly, you regain authorship. You move from unconscious observer to conscious selector. This is where power returns. Every moment is a vote, not for what you want, but for who you are becoming. That's the real choice. Money choices, relationship choices, health choices. They are surfaced expressions of a deeper selection. Identity always precedes outcome. If you want different results, you must be willing to feel unfamiliar emotions, discomfort, uncertainty, exposure. Most people don't fail because they lack discipline. They fail because they refuse to feel temporary emotional instability. Growth feels chaotic at the nervous system level, but clarity comes after coherence, not before. This is counterintuitive. We're conditioned to wait until we're ready. Ready never comes. Coherence is built through motion. Think about the people you admire most. They didn't wait to feel certain. They moved while afraid, but aligned. That's the difference. Fear with alignment expands you. Fear with resistance traps you. Choice is not about eliminating fear. It's about choosing despite it. When you understand this, procrastination reveals itself. It's not laziness. It's emotional avoidance. When you delay, ask yourself, what emotion am I avoiding feeling? Name it. Then choose anyway. That's quantum leverage. Over time, your baseline shifts. Your system learns safety in alignment. Opportunities appear where none existed before. People will say you got lucky. You know what actually happened? You changed the observer. And here's the final truth most never hear. You are not choosing between options. You are choosing between identities. One that keeps the past alive. One that allows the future to emerge. Every decision collapses a timeline. So the real question is simple. Who do you choose to be when it matters? If this changed the way you see yourself, don't ignore it. Awareness is only powerful when acted upon. Choose intentionally, choose consciously, and watch how reality responds.